Hello, everybody, and welcome back to From BA to Broadway. You know who it is. It's me. It's Brennan Stefanik. And today I am joined by the one, the only, Miss Kaléa Leverette.
Hello.
Kaléa, what's going on?
Hey, Brennan, what's up?
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Very grateful to have you here today.
Happy to be here.
Who the heck are you, and what do you do?
Oh my goodness, who the heck am I? I am a jack of all trades and master of one. I do have a master's degree, which is not in anything theater related. Fun fact.
What is it in?
Public health.
Yeah, it is.
My path to Broadway, my path to theater in general has not been a linear one.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a wealth of experience in so many other things. I've had so many other careers. I'm not as spry as I may appear to be. And I'm in general just a person who feels strongly and deeply and cares strongly and deeply and experiences the world fully, and am also a bit of a hot mess. I mean, all artists are, right?
I think we're all hot messes.
Fully, I lean into my air sign tendencies.
Love that for you.
Wholeheartedly. And I am very happy to have met you.
God.
My New York experience has also been kind of
How did we meet?
balls.
Tell everyone how we met.
Actor therapy.
Oh, we made our 54 Below debut together.
Yeah.
It was your debut, right?
It was. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I was gonna say,
was that November?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was at the end of last year.
Yeah.
I had a blast, regardless.
It was my 54 debut, right the Monday after my Broadway debut.
I know. Crazy.
Which that week is kind of a blur to me now. But
how amazing.
Yeah, I got to meet you and we stayed in contact, and the nice thing about that program in particular, all the folks that come in and out, whether you come in and perform, do rehearse and performance, or work with within the actual learning emphasis part of the program, we all do really kind of have each other's backs.
Yeah.
And if you need a community, you will find folks.
That is a community if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
Truly, truly grateful for that so much.
And it brought us here.
I'm doing Sondheim with them right now.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
It's a lot of fun, but Sondheim is hard.
Yeah. I stay away from traditional musical theater, anything that requires technique and professionalism. I'm like, hoo-ah.
Professionalism is overrated.
Right?
Fuck that. Come on. So, folks, today we're talking about mental health.
Yeah.
You know?
It's sad, it's happy, it's all the things in between.
It's going to be a super happy episode about being super sad.
That's the goal. We are not trying to, I guess, maybe upfront trigger warnings.
Yeah. Yeah.
You may feel feels, we may experience feels.
And you know what? That's what acting's all about.
It is.
You know,
it
that
is.
really is what it is.
We're not here to filter it.
No.
I'm happy to shed light on things that I was completely unaware of, in my own mental health journey, as well as my psychological journey as a human being, and observing other humans, and then in this weird showbiz situation that we got ourselves into.
Which is it's just really, what an outlet for it. It is both the best outlet and also the worst outlet.
It's the best and the worst.
You know?
And how did we find that dichotomy? I don't know. Leave it to the arty kids.
It's wow, I get to escape my problems and be someone else. But then also I'm now I have to harbor someone else's problems.
And then try to also process my own emotions so that I don't let them either leak through unless it's convenient if they leak through, which...
Use it. That's what they always say.
Yes, the big infamous they.
Exactly.
The BFA folks. I did not. I have lots of. I don't have lots. I have 2 bachelor's degrees, but they are not BFAs. Neither one of them.
What are they in?
One is in biology with a minor in chem, and then I also have a bachelor's in international relations with a minor in religion.
She's a scientist.
I am.
Is she?
I was pre-med all of college.
That's still crazy to me.
Yeah, I was an EMT for 4 years. And I was going to go to med school. And then I kind of did a little tangenty into pageant land.
You said that's icky.
Well, it was just sad. I mean,
sure.
Speaking about emotions in the workplace, it's the worst kind of grief all of the time. And sometimes it's never your fault.
Yes. 100%.
But sometimes it is your fault.
And like, I mean, regardless, it's easy to feel that way.
It is. You just, if you're in the ambulance and you don't get there in time, like you think, had I just ran that red light, had I just done something else?
Yeah.
So I pivoted.
And now you sing and dance.
And now I sing and dance and complete with confetti cannons and
kind of the same thing.
Yeah, and honestly,
we love that.
I mean, I am an emergency on call person. I'm a swing, so it's still very much putting out fires.
There you go.
But not life-threatening ones anymore, at least.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank freaking God. Yeah, folks, the actor's journey, it's an interesting one. It's a tough one, but our favorite thing that we deal with so constantly is rejection. So much rejection.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's constant. It's inevitable.
It's also coming from a lot of different places. And I think that's something that I did not realize coming into this kind of world of theater. I started out in dinner theater, like like in regional houses in Florida. And once you kind of like, I don't know if you've experienced this, regional girlies, wherever you are, when you're in your community of regional theaters and they kind of start recycling the same people over and over again, it starts to feel personal, that rejection of, okay, I didn't book this role because at that point now you mostly know the community of actors that you work with. You know what their strengths are, their weaknesses are, you know who they're connected to, who they're not connected to, and that it starts to burn a little bit more. I think I remember I was so butthurt. Like there's this production of The Little Mermaid way pre-COVID times, like early on when I was doing theater, and I've been working at this regional theater for, I think I'd done maybe like 4 consecutive shows with them.
Wow.
So like, here's this 5th show coming up. It's a Disney show. I am a Disney princess girl through and through. I'm like, let's do it. My friends and I that we all work at this theater pretty regularly. We actually all came in and did like a group audition. We just came in as Triton's daughters and just did the number.
That's iconic.
Thank you. We thought so too. And only 2 of us booked it.
Damn.
And we were like, I personally was like devastated. Like that was the one, like that was my first big role hurt.
Yeah.
I think I was like, because it wasn't even that like I didn't book like Ariel, which I was not even at the time, like thinking that was even in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Industry. We're gonna
another story.
We can save that for another episode.
There you go.
But I was just like so hurt. Like, hey, I mean, I've been working here consistently. Like, I prove my work ethic. Like, you guys know that I'm a reliable person. Why all of a sudden now, like, do you not want me? And the artistic director is a gruff,
as they are,
a gruff.
Yeah.
And the guy who owns the theater is a greedy gruff.
Heard.
And greedy gruff says to me when I was like really inquiring, but like, hey, like this is really weird. Like, and me and the other girls were like, okay, like come on, bro. Like, are you serious right now? He's like, we're honestly tired of seeing your face. He's
That's so fucked.
And we just kind of like sat there and like swallowed that for a moment, and it was one of those things. Okay, like is it my actual face? Are you literally sick of looking at my facial features? And you find out that like you get rejected for so many different reasons. And when you peel back the layers of greedy gruff and you put your sociological and your financial caps on, and you realize that a lot of these regional theaters are filled with the exact same like seasonal ticket holders.
Yeah.
And they're the same grumpy old gruff folks that go to every single show and have an opinion about it. And they're the ones who are saying, hey, this has been the same girl in the last 4 shows. And so like they're not even really half the time, like they hear one off comment and that will be the reason for you to get it and not get it.
For sure.
And that's just like in the realm of like auditions and roles. Like, I mean, we can go into like callback rejections because those sting, like rejections in the room where you're like fully in the dance call. Those are a different kind of hurt of rejection. Or like rejections after the final callbacks. But then there's like those rejections that happen in our theater world that are not work related.
Oh, yeah.
Like when you get rejected from your day job of being able to go to the audition. Like, hey, you asked for that day off or you asked for that shift off, and they say no.
Yeah.
That's the same level of there's nothing I can do about this. And it's that same kind of feeling of defeat.
It's just so much. I think the defeat is so ever present because it's so out of your control. You know, it's so out of your control. And also there's so many reasons it can be. And half the time you're never cued in on them.
You're never cued in. And even if you do all of the digging and you go look on backstage, if they still have that portal where people like are going in and like spilling the tea, and you can like do all the things, but like it'll seriously come down to that the actor that they cast as the lead guy is 6'3" and I'm 5'2", and they just think that looks ridiculous.
For sure.
I look like his daughter and not his love interest. And that will be a ridiculous reason. Or I've had folks that like, hey, like you're great for the role, but like I don't really like working with your agent. And I don't really want to negotiate with that. And like hearing things, the stories I hear now.
Crazy.
In the green room.
I've never heard that one, but that's interesting.
And depending on like you don't realize like there are so many things that there are other people in the way.
Yeah.
Like with casting offices, they literally just like may not like working with that accompanist or this composer. And you literally bring this is your favorite composer. And every time you audition for them, you sing this song. They're like, I literally just hate this guy. He stole my girlfriend in college.
Yeah, for sure. And they don't tell you that ahead of time.
No, they don't tell you in school that like the real world operates under the guise of human nature itself.
We need like a database of like professionals, but like not in like contact information, just like who hates who,
right?
Who
a web of like reality TV, sort of like I need like a bracket of like, okay, if I'm going to this audition, make sure I talk to this person singing this song. They don't like this person. Make sure I don't mention this, and make sure I definitely wear blue because they hate red.
I'm gonna take this off my resume because I don't want them to see this credit or this person.
They don't like this director. They definitely don't like this director. Let me make sure I take this off. But there's not, and so like there's the ways to combat it, like. Because there's really no way to work around it to like, trust me, I've tried. I've tried.
It's all out of the control, and you just gotta let that sit, and you just gotta keep on going.
Well, I would, listeners, Brennan, I would offer this. There are three things, I guess. So here I go, like listing now that I'm on another little soapbox. Like the biggest thing that helps like rationalize and settle the defeat is my connection to like something greater.
For sure.
So, like whether that is your faith, whether that's your family, like if you're a spiritual person, like realizing that your value is not wrapped into whatever you did that day.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of really what it is. We take our art as like an extension of us, but really it's literally just what you did that day.
Truly.
If you think about like, I watch a lot of grandma TV, so like chef shows, and like you're not a bad chef if like this one plate of food isn't your best plate of food ever.
Yeah.
Like maybe you had janky like lettuce that day, or maybe you had like rough ingredients, or like so and so, like you were missing something that day.
Yep.
Like that doesn't mean you're a bad chef. It means you're a bad actor. It just means that whatever the art that you presented that day just they didn't have a taste for it.
For whatever reason.
And like if you think that, hey, like my purpose is not to make these people satisfied, not for these people to like my art, but because my art is serving to tell this bigger story, to connect with these other people. Like that's what I use when like there's no reason for the rejection to have happened. And then the other thing is literally just like because there's a lot of immediate rejection, I think, for us. Like, you get cut immediately.
Oh, yeah.
And I always find something better to do. If I have a self-tape due, if I have an audition, if I have a callback, I find something better to do that day.
Yeah.
I schedule a date. I mean, I already look nice. Like, I already, like, have my stuffy, like, nice to meet you clothes on.
Truly.
Like,
yeah.
Like, I'll go, like, schedule a lunch. I'll go get a massage. Like, there has to be something else better for this day. I don't know, go buy a giant Milk Bar pie and like leave it in your freezer for when you get home. Like,
iconic.
Literally, even if like you don't have any coins, you're like, I'm just gonna like take these ramen noodles and like make a ramen noodle feast.
Yeah.
Like, find something better to do that day than finish my self-tape.
Truly.
Because that way, like it doesn't have so much weight.
No.
Like the rejection is easier to carry because it's gonna be there.
For sure.
but it'll just, we're trying to make it lighter.
That's exactly right.
We're already carrying a lot of other stuff. It's New York,
And I've said it before, folks, but what is meant for you will not pass you by.
Yes.
It's at the end of the day, you got to believe that, because it's nice to have something to believe in. And especially in this field, your time's going to come.
There will be a time. I mean, it's hard because you think about all the carbon copies of you, all the folks that are your type.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, wait a minute. I know that there are 5 girls that are exactly like me. How do I see them in every callback? I now know their names. I know who they are. I know who their agents are. Like, I know these women now. And you're like, okay, well, she books this. She books this. She gets this. She gets that. And at the end of the day, like, you want to have your blinders on in the sense of like making sure that your comparison goggles are not activated.
Totally.
But like, if you look at it like hey, I was rejected so she could have this time.
Yeah.
Then you kind of like get into your little like, oh wait, maybe I have some part in this bigger story.
For sure.
Like, hey, like you'll mention me on page 264 of your memoir, but I know this role was not for me. And for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe like you'll get bunions from tapping so hard. Who knows? Or like maybe like you're an amazing like soprano and like you've booked this amazing role, and then like the opera's like, oh, cute, and they snatch you up, and then now like the role is open.
100%.
Like Netflix called and like, oh my goodness, the show's amazing, and now you're on Bridgerton next year. Like
there you go.
Literally you never know.
No, you never do.
Especially in like you never know what's meant for the other person, and that kind of helps settle me too. It's like, all right, hey, like this must have been meant for them. Like, okay, cool, awesome. What's meant for me? Is that a White Lotus tile? Squirrel.
It sure is. We have taste here.
We have taste. Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many factors, and it's once again, because there are so many factors, there's so many things that can bog you down. So
yeah.
You got to keep going, which is just so easy for me to say right now on a microphone, but like I think it's one of those things too where repetition kind of happens, and then you eventually build the calluses,
exactly.
And then you're able to kind of develop those skills. It's growing pains, folks. It really is, but you will grow.
You will. I mean, the disappointment, I felt like, no, I mean, they're all going to be different, but like the disappointment, and I kind of take it as like compartmentalized within yourself. But the sadness I felt not booking roles at 25 was definitely not the sadness I'm booking roles like now. Like I kind of like have like you said, I've had 5, 6, 7 years of callous building of them saying no, of me going to an audition every single day for a month and still not having a job for 6 months. Until you've experienced that. And I'm sure like if you're 18 years old, like you don't want to hear that. You do not want to hear that like, okay, great, 5 years from now, this is going to sting a little bit less.
Yes.
It's not the funnest truth.
No.
But it's, if you are in a space of rejection, like right now, if you're like in a space of, hey, like I didn't book anything this audition season, like know that every audition season will get easier.
That's
in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it's a lot to shove in your bag to carry along with you.
Yeah.
But you get stronger, and then that bag is easier to carry and all of that. But that is part of being an actor. It really is. And then you get the fun addition of those little chemical imbalances in your brain.
Oh, buddy.
They're like,
don't
oh my
even
God.
begin to like now, like you put your actor stuff in a box and then you open your like me as a human box.
Truly.
And like their life childhood trauma and adolescent trauma. And if you have any like mental like aptitudes for things or illnesses or like different ability levels or like, and now you have to like you said, reconcile all of these things that are innately a part of you with this huge emotional trigger that is show business.
100%.
Like, I personally, like, I know I'm like, I have been affected by anxiety and ADHD and like depression things in the past, but like never to the point where like I sought treatment for them.
Yeah.
And then like all of a sudden, like this industry brings out everything
That's
that
exactly right.
is like lurking within your psyche, whether you want it to or not. And so now you have to juggle the fact that also like depending on the work that you're doing, like you're in emotionally triggering situations.
Oh yeah.
like been in so many different productions or like been reading scripts of like, hey, like this happens in the story and thinking that, wow, this personally triggers me. I don't know if I can do this work, or you try to, and worse, which happens unfortunately, like you do what you can to book it, and then you get there and now you're stuck doing this emotionally triggering like role every single day, sometimes 8 times a week. And how does that affect you, like, as a person? How does it affect your future work, your current work? Like, how are you getting up and like going and smiling in front of a house of 1,600 people when you walk off? Like, there are days like, which I don't know if anybody even cares to hear this, like this, not to crush your dreams, but like every day is not like a rainbow and unicorn and butterflies day on Broadway. And like there are days where like we literally take a bow in front of the stage of 2,000 people and we turn around and our faces drop.
Yeah.
Like immediately drop from exhaustion, from tiredness, from just the weight. If you're grieving somebody, if you've lost somebody, if you've had a breakup, all those things are still happening.
Yeah.
Whether you have an audition, whether you have a show, whether you have a callback, like your life is still happening.
It's a job as much as anything else. It's a job that you go to and then you leave and you're back in life and you have to deal with all the life stuff, you know? As much as it's nice that you get to do what you love, but at the end of the day, you still have to deal with all the other shit, you know?
And it's so important to deal with it, because if you don't, like, it will deal with you.
Oh, 100%. And it'll do it at the most inopportune time. And it's not worth it, folks, you know?
It's not worth it.
Theater is not worth trauma.
No, it's not worth trauma. It's not worth trauma bonds.
No.
I know this is your dream. It's all of our dreams, but it is not worth damaging your well-being. If you need to take a break from theater because maybe like you're in a space where like, hey, I've had 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 bad audition seasons, or hey, I've been living in New York for 25 years and I've only ever gotten 3 Broadway callbacks. Like maybe it is time to like say, hey, like, this is hurting me more than it's helping me.
Yeah.
Like, how can I take a shift to either like get myself the mental support that I need, the emotional support that I need, or how can I shift away from theater or do theater in a different space to where it's not causing me so much like distress?
Yeah. It's scary. Those thoughts are especially scary because it's like, well, I've just wanted this my whole life and I've spent so much time. It's like when you're waiting for the bus and it's running late and you're like, I know the second that I walk away from this bus stop and try and take another one, it's going to pull up, you know? So you wait and you wait and you wait and it gets canceled and canceled and canceled and you're just sitting there absolutely irate, you know? Yeah. Happens to me every time I try and take the bus. God.
Like, please, I'm just trying to get to one place.
Yeah.
I find that a lot with like, I have a lot of friends now that have stepped away from theater because they got married, they have children now, and they're happy. They do miss theater in the sense that they're like, I don't really miss that instability. I don't miss like always having to beg for a space, to like having to, and that's kind of a thing that like you learn to not to beg for that space anymore. Is that, hey, if they told you no, they clearly like they do not need my work here, which is wonderful. Like somebody else hopefully will need it somewhere else, and let's take it to where it's needed.
Exactly.
I'm working on that now. Like it's very easy for me to sit here with my lovely cushy job at a very long running play and say, hey, like rejection like was awful, but I mean I went to 9 different callbacks before I booked this.
Yeah.
They flat out told me no. The year before I booked this, because I guess I'd been in for a year and a half and then COVID. Long story short, the year that I was consistently going every year, I thought, okay, hey, this is the year. They're like, oh, sorry, like we thought somebody was leaving. They're not leaving. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That wasn't even a rejection. It was just like, sorry. Not sorry.
Truly.
Yeah, like our bad.
Also, it's also something they can't control.
Yeah,
you know,
there's so many things, and I just really had to sit there and say, hey, like, what do you want more than this job? Like, why do you even want to perform in the first place?
Yeah,
like why are you getting up? Like, why are you putting yourself through this rejection? And And then on top of that, we haven't even touched on living in New York City and how depressing New York City is as a place.
Oh my God. Absolutely crazy. I mean, folks, listen, it's the best city in the world, city of dreams. But at the same time, oh my God, it's so hard.
It's exhausting everything is hard. Getting food in any form, delivery, grocery stores, bodegas. If you need to feed yourself in New York, it's hard.
It costs $9 million.
It costs money and effort and time you don't have.
Exactly.
And so, that's hard. It's hard. People, a lot of us live in walk-ups and walk-downs to the subway and walk all around and wait for elevators. Everything is hard. There's always somebody asking you for the $3.50 that you worked your butt off to get.
Yeah.
And there's somebody and your heart is
and they need it more.
I know that you need this more than me, but I'm like, dude, man, me too. I also need it.
It's tough.
It's tough and it's isolating. I know that
100%. It's daunting.
It's daunting, but we all live in tiny boxes inside larger boxes inside a city that's on a grid and a tic-tac-toe board.
Yeah.
So it's so we are so isolated that if you don't make a point to actively see people that
yes.
you can see thousands of people a day and feel utterly alone. And I think that is a very urban experience that if you've not lived in New York, Chicago, it's kind of like if you've ever flown, if you're not a New Yorker, if you've ever flown on a big commercial flight by yourself.
Yeah.
You can see all those folks in the airport. You are on a plane with 200 other people and you're like, oh no, I'm by myself.
Yes.
And prolonged loneliness is rough. I have dealt with that, especially in the wintertime because it's cold. We don't want to come outside.
I love my friends to death, but I don't ever want to leave my home.
I can't.
I know.
It's too hard.
I gotta get my snowshoes out and my ski poles.
I'm from Florida. I open the door and I'm unhappy.
Truly. That's rough.
And so you're cold, and then people's schedules never work out because we're all working some sort of other job that either we don't hate, or if you're not working a job, you're doing some sort of work from home job that you can't leave your home, or you're babysitting, you can't leave that person's home.
That's exactly right.
And so just to exist in New York, you're having to basically isolate yourself to survive.
Yeah.
And then you relish the rando dando Wednesday nights that you get to go out.
God.
Or the Mondays where you have a friend at 54 Below and you literally go out and you ball out. And those are the things that I feel like another little fun offering for you and the listeners. Things that have helped me. Thank you, therapist.
Therapist
that is the biggest tip, is that if you feel like you are not supported, there is support out there for you. Get on an app, BetterHelp, Talkspace. If you have insurance, if you're still on your parents' insurance, those apps in particular take most insurance plans. They're also, if you reach out to there's the Therapy Center of New York, they have a long wait list, but they're also very affordable and accessible. And so besides getting actual help, something that really helps me that I realized after having my first winter in New York was having plans.
So important.
Is so important, making them in advance so that you have something to look forward to. So I know I'll be in my apartment alone for these 6 days, but on the 10th of this month, I'm going to this lovely espresso martini bar that I saw on Instagram.
Yeah.
Even if it's by yourself, because I know as a single girly, it is so hard to negotiate schedules with people.
Oh, yeah,
It's impossible because especially a lot of my friends are couples or married. So it's now they are trying to negotiate two schedules into one that matches my one schedule, that matches my other friend's schedule.
Yeah.
So if you just find a little spot, make a plan, make it in advance, and literally hold out for it. If you get an audition that day, obviously if it's the audition of your dreams, if Broadway's calling, girl, go. But but if it's not, hey, man, we're going to lunch. I will come and I will drag you out of your apartment.
Absolutely.
We're gonna go to this new Thai place.
It's it's having a social life is so important, but it's also work. You have to actively work to have the social life.
Yes, is another part-time job, something that nobody tells you before you move to New York, is that if you will not wake up and be Carrie Bradshaw. Like, there is no one there. No one's going to invite you to these events. Like, all these things that you see on Instagram, people like going to these cool concerts that are underground. No one's going to just invite you to them.
No.
You literally have to like scour the internet.
Totally.
And like, really, it's annoying because social media is like the devil sometimes when it comes to mental health. Like, it really does perpetuate like comparison and, I mean, all sorts of other things.
All of the worst.
All of the things. And we're people seeking validation in those things. But it is the easiest way to connect with, I feel like, events and companies and brands, at least. There are two, I mean, like, find a club. Yeah, clubs sound lame. Like, we're not in middle school. But, like, yo, clubs have, I just recently, like, found one. And I'm like, okay, I understand.
Yeah.
It's like other people that like what you like, and so that and other people that actively want to talk to folks,
exactly,
and don't get to.
Exactly.
So you'll find some of those.
You gotta find your spaces. I say if you are moving here right away, just get out there and find those spaces.
Yeah, find them before you get here.
Or also find your bar that's around the corner from you or down the street that you can just go to. And even I love to go to a bar with a book. You know, I'll sit by myself and read and just feel like I'm a part of something. You know, it's like you gotta get out there. You know, you gotta make it happen for yourself in these regards. But like, I mean, especially with finding a community, that can be so scary if you're moving here and like you don't know anyone. But that's when you put yourself in situations surrounded by people who are probably like you. You know,
right.
And it's a risk, and you gotta take it, and it'll happen, you know?
Yeah.
Take some classes, like...
Take any classes. I mean, and yes, I will tell you what folks will not. They are expensive.
Oh.
Like, start saving now. Yeah. Like, you're spending... I mean, even for a voice lesson with a reputable teacher that, like, that has some clout and some knowledge, you're paying, like, you know, close to $100. So, like, per class. But the people that you meet, number one, like, they also paid that money, so they are as invested in their career or in the hobby, or if you're paying, you know, $100 to go to like a painting class, they are as invested in learning how to paint as you are because they've invested those coins.
Go to a paint night. Go to a bingo night.
A bingo night. Like, they have so many like queer bingos with like, they have so many old folks that like would love to have like fresh young energy, like in bingo spaces and card spaces, dominoes. I would love to. I don't know how, because my schedule is not conducive to going outside and doing other people things. But, like, I would love to go to like a salsa class. And, like, so I could be able to like go to salsa nights at these clubs and like actually know what I'm doing.
Exactly.
Not just twirl around.
Truly. And like, if you play a sport, there's so many recreational sport. Like, nobody's out here playing sports professionally. Like, it's all people just wanting to scratch that itch of the thing that they love. Like, it's there's so many options, and you just gotta seek them out. But like, New York is expensive. It is the most expensive city to live in. Quite frankly, like, rent is going to be the biggest amount of your paycheck. You know, classes are going to be a lot. Groceries are going to be a lot.
Yep.
Quite literally, just staying alive is a lot. And then in order to get that money, you will, as an actor, you're not going to be working constantly. There's going to be times where you are going to need survival jobs that you probably won't enjoy too much, you know? And it's just to pay the bills. It's just to have that social life. And it can really bog you down. But you got to focus on why you're doing it.
Well, right. And like, if there will be ones, like, I mean, I love Brennan is giving like you the real, like, you will be working at McDonald's or Trader Joe's for 3 months and you will hate it.
Truly.
But like, you might be serving somewhere and you might hate it. But like, there are things, if you really like kind of do some self-work and figure out what your other passions are, like, okay, yeah, maybe, you know, you have to work retail because that's the most flexible hours. But like, do you like books? Go work at Barnes & Noble. Go work at Strand.
Yeah.
Like, do you like makeup? Go work at Sephora. Go work at Ulta. Yes. Like, it's hard because in New York, like, there are so many people competing for the same jobs. Like, look for online jobs. Like, look for like coding, like, if you are proficient in any school subject, like above a middle school level, look for online tutoring jobs.
Yeah.
Like, you can tutor anybody's kid in like second grade math, at least hopefully.
And you know what, folks? Just general rule, if you're planning on moving to New York, try and work a retail job for 2 months before you come. Try and work in a restaurant for 2 months before you come, because that is something that, yes, they're going to look for the experience, but when you are thrust in the New York environment of those things, it's that times 1,000, you know, and you don't want to be caught as a fish out of water, you know. It can be terrifying.
It's terrifying on top of the fact that like most people will not even give you a job if you haven't had a job before, which is ridiculous.
Oh my God, yeah.
The redundancy of that just like really just makes me so mad.
Yeah.
But so I love that. Just if you can while in your hometown, like find anything else. If you are a person who likes health and fitness, like get certified in every kind of like Pure Barre, strength training, like Orange Theory, Barry's. Are you a running instructor? Are you a personal trainer? If you have any sort of like I almost said jazzercise.
I mean, yeah. Why the hell not?
I don't know why I said jazzercise. I'm like, I keep going to bar and yoga. I wanted to say yoga.
It's pretty much the same thing.
And it came out jazzercise.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to deal with. And then you're trying to go to auditions, but you got this job that you don't want to go to, but you have to. And
right.
I mean, that's another thing too, folks. We'll have an episode about like survival jobs and like the actual living and how to do that. But like, get those jobs that you don't mind saying, I need to go to an audition. And if they don't like that, then you leave, you know?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I'm like, well, because while we're in the protecting your mental health and your peace, if that survival job is becoming detrimental to your acting, to your mental health, to the spirit, if you're leaving that survival job so exhausted that you can't give 100% at your audition, then and that's contributing to you not booking things and then contributing to getting more rejection and therefore getting more depressed, then maybe it's time to find a different survival job.
Yeah.
Like it's basically this, my biggest message to you is to really, really tune into yourself and figure out what you need.
Yeah.
Like trust your gut.
Always,
like,
always.
Even if your friends are like, don't quit. And you're like, no, man, like I cannot keep washing dishes for 12 hours and then going to stand at Pearl at 5 a.m.
Truly.
I'm going to fall over.
We're in a huge city, which can, yes, be daunting, but also it can be so helpful because you're so replaceable. Like you are so replaceable, which like sounds depressing, but it is one of the most beautiful things because quite frankly, if you don't like it, you can leave and never have to go there again.
Yeah.
Never see those people, your coworkers again.
Never.
You know, you really don't have to worry about that. Even if you meet people here and then you end up not vibing too well, you don't have to. You don't have to retain that community because, quite frankly, you don't have to see them. You don't.
And you will most likely, unless they are also like other actors, you will most likely not see them again. So, don't carry the weight and the pressure. It's not like you're living in a small town back home where if you quit the job at the grocery store, they won't give you the one.
Yeah. And everyone in town knows it because everyone knows everyone and yada, yada, yada.
Right. That is not the situation. I love that your board says it's okay not to be okay.
Thank you.
I want to impress that upon folks as well.
Truly.
Like whether you are an out of work actor with no survival job, an out of work actor with a survival job that you hate, with one that you love, or you have got a golden ticket and you're sitting on Broadway and you're not okay for whatever reason, like it's okay not to be okay. Do not feel beholden to. I remember feeling so angry at myself for not being happy.
Oh my God.
Like in the beginning of this process, I'm like, I'm on, like I've booked Broadway, like
for sure.
I'm in a show that I love. Like, why am I not happy? And I was like getting angry and like sort of like almost like repressing those emotions that are kind of like negative and nasty just because I was not validating the fact that they were present for all those other reasons of like living in New York and being isolated and having no family and no friends. And at the time, like I just lost my grandfather and so I was grieving. And I just want to reiterate that it is very okay for you not to be okay wherever you are. Yeah. And please reach out for help.
Always.
Whether it's like, hey, I'd like go get a rejection lunch partner.
Yeah.
Like I shout out like my friend Kaylee, and I love her to pieces. She's also a fantastic voice teacher. She's a lovely Broadway girly, but like her and I remember leaving the Wicked audition like in tears. Not even like 'cause I did poorly. We both did great. But it was just like, it was so overwhelming. Like that was the one call where there were like 800 people in the building, 600 in a room. And I'm like, I get a little claustrophobic. So I was just like happy I made it through. And I was like, I just needed like a little rejection lunch.
Yes.
And like find those little ray of sunshines in your day, and then like look forward to those so that you can keep going. Because as long as you keep going, you will be okay.
Yeah. And folks, something that no one ever tells you is that you are allowed to be grateful and not be happy. Those things are not mutually exclusive. You know, it is okay to be grateful for the good in your life, but also feel sad, you know? And because quite frankly, a lot of times there's no reason.
And
you're just feeling sad for no reason, and that's so fine.
It could be a chemical imbalance, and it could also just, like you said, you could just wake up and it just not be your day, especially for folks who were assigned female at birth. Like, there are lots of hormonal waves and changes that you literally have no control over.
Totally.
And so, like, if you wake up sad, like, honor that.
Okay.
If you wake up happy, honor that. I love that you don't have to be grateful and happy. I love that, because that's, I mean, you could have booked Elle Woods and you've been waiting for Elle Woods your entire life, and then you realize that, wow, to sing Elle Woods 8 times a week, I can't talk during the day.
No.
And it's okay to be grumpy about that.
I can't go out for a drink.
Yeah, like I can't talk to you on FaceTime for 2 hours at night because I need that vocal rest.
Truly.
And there's space for all of those emotions if you validate them and you honor them.
Yeah. You know, feelings are valid, folks. Feelings are always valid.
All of them.
You know, never doubt that. Never let anyone tell you otherwise. They are always valid, you know? Can you do things about them? For sure. But at the end of the day, the base of it, you are correct.
Yeah.
By just existing, you know?
And find what brings you peace.
Oh my God. It's so important.
Yeah.
Also, like, back to the New York of it all, like, you are such a tiny person surrounded by literal skyscrapers. You are
skyscrapers
so
as buildings, skyscrapers as people. The amount of people that bump me during the day because they legitimately do not know that I am there. I am 5, 2, 3, 4, not really.
Depending on the role.
Depending on the role, we are anywhere from 4'11" to 5'5".
There we go.
Either way, we're kind of tiny, and it's kind of like you feel crushed. You feel like you feel fully just like these buildings are just towering over you, and
also like there's no green space around you. There's no nature, which is like
the air is not fresh.
Scientific. My cousin is an epidemiology doctor now. He just did for his thesis. Let's see, not experiment. Research. He just did a bunch of research on green space and mental health, and like it is quite like it is scientifically, codependent. Yeah, you know, so. I cannot tell you what a walk in Central Park does for me.
I live by Central Park on the other side.
It is a reset, you know?
It certainly helps. I go for runs in the park, even if you I've noticed that, like, even if you open the windows, like, I am not a window open girly because we know the air is not fresh. But, like, if you just open the windows and remind yourself that there is moving air, the air in these buildings is so stagnant.
Yep.
And then the only, green you see, you'll maybe see, like, 3 or 4 leaves of a tree that's like kind of scraggly walking. Like, make it a point to go to the park.
Yes.
Get on a train and go to Cold Springs. Yeah. Like, I've not been there, but I hear it's amazing. It's on my list. Or even if like you're not a person that like has the ability to like get out by themselves a lot and like walk, like maybe you just try to cultivate a little green space.
Get some plants.
Get some plants, bro. Get some plants. It's like, make your own green space. It's such a relief to like be pouring into something literally like water most of the time or nutrients and actually seeing it grow instead of like our careers where lessons we pour into something and there is no result. No. There is no growth. So yeah, like green spaces, get some plants, grow some plants. If you do not have the ability to grow plants, go see plants, like try to find some kind of way to connect with nature.
Totally.
Yeah.
Also, this just popped into my brain, which is so ironic, but like something no one ever talks about, or I shouldn't say never talks about, but something there is such a taboo on is medication.
Yeah.
Medication, folks.
Oh my goodness. As my dad would say, better living through chemistry.
Yeah.
Like there are some things that are just, I mean, just like if you think about it, and every single thing that we ingest in our bodies is a chemical compound. So I did my thesis for my MPH on stigma.
Oh, okay.
And there is a lot of stigma around mental health medication.
Totally.
I mean, I personally did it on STIs, but just the idea that medication is given to you because there's something wrong with you is I just want to like destroy that notion in general.
Yep.
Like we have basically given you something to help you function. We are just allowing your body a boost, an extra mechanism to help itself. So like if you're a person who like, hey, like I used to take some ADHD medication as a kid, I got to college, they said I didn't need it anymore. And you've noticed that like my focus is not great. And you think, well, my mom isn't here and my alarm's not here. Like maybe it's just the fact that you have medication and you don't. Or maybe you felt like you've been needing medication most of your life, that you've gone undiagnosed with like ASD or ADHD or anxiety or depression. And because there gets to a point, I've been there. I know a lot of folks have been there where you're like, I can't help myself anymore.
No.
Like there's something I've done all the journaling, I've done all the praying, I've done all of the work, and I'm supposed to feel better, and I don't. And that's when you reach out. I mean, I would obviously recommend, do not just go take your best friend's
absolutely
mirtazapine
not.
and then like and because it helps them. Like please, for sure, like find find a trusted medical professional, whether that's a therapist, counselor, and talk to them. Say like, hey, I think I need medication, and here's why. And let them kind of walk you through that process. But please, please, please get some help.
Yes.
Like, and it's not forever. And if it is, that's okay too.
Also that, I will personally say that like I only started exploring antidepressants when I got to my very worst. It's something that quite frankly would have been incredibly helpful for a very long time, and I just waited because I didn't want to have to take a pill to like fix myself, quote unquote, because that's what everyone kind of teaches you. That's what everyone instills in you. Folks, go for it. Start it. It will be so helpful, and don't let it get to the very worst, because
do not.
Is it going to help? For sure, but like it's going to help so much better and prepare you for that very worst.
And here's the very worst. If you guys need some like, real concrete examples of when the rejection and depression gets to a point where you need help. So if you've gotten rejected from something, you've gotten a callback, a cut in the room, if you've gotten rejected, and I say this is obviously, please do, this is not medical advice. Do not sue me.
Of course, we are not doctors.
We are not doctors. But if you feel like you have the same weight of like losing a relative or family or friend, if you would feel that same weight of grief, of anger, of sadness, like that's when you see someone. If everything is, if things that are small, like you lost the back of an earring, and that throws you into hysterics.
Yeah.
Like that is kind of like a brain stuff. Like, hey, if someone else on TV were to have experienced what I experienced, would they have reacted like this? That's like a really great rule of thumb, because there are a lot of sitcoms, TV shows where like things happen because humans write them, and as actors and as writers, we tend to put the most common behavioral trait attached to those environments. So unless like you're like watching some serial killer, like obviously like don't model your life after how Ted Bundy reacted after he killed somebody.
Please don't.
But like if you're saying, hey, like, okay, I got dumped, and I've been weeping profusely for 3 weeks. I've not eaten. If any bodily functions are impaired, if you feel like you're not eating the same, if you're not drinking enough water, like those are also big indicators that there's like, that's time to seek help. If you're really becoming isolated, you've noticed that like for over a week, you've not like thought to contact, reach out to anybody, that's a trigger to like, hey, reach out for help.
Yeah.
Obviously there are physical things. If you're feeling the need to hurt yourself, or like I describe it as like if you feel there's like heat trapped in your body and it can't, and you can't release it, whether you scream, punch, it's still there and it's not going to come out. Before you go grab any sharp objects, like reach out for your phone and call for help.
Yeah.
There are little triggers, little nods to what's going on inside, that if we just pay attention to those things, then maybe we'll get help sooner rather than later. We don't have to be at rock bottom.
No.
Before, and then have to pick ourselves back up from the bottom. Like maybe only fall to like half bottom.
Yeah. these are just more tools that you put in your tool belt, among other things. You know, it doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you broken or incorrect. Like, you are human.
Yeah.
You are human.
You are not less than. You are just needing. I mean, honestly, it's just a little extra, right?
Yeah, you're gonna take aspirin for a headache. Take some antidepressants.
Right, exactly. You take aspirin for a headache. Diabetics like take insulin. They never don't think that, oh well, something's wrong with me, I better not take my insulin.
Yeah. No, because if you don't, it's gonna wear you away, and it's the same thing. It's the same thing, folks. Also, just like anxiety too. Like audition anxiety is one of my biggest problems. Like you freeze up, and it quite literally prohibits you from doing what you need to for your career. Like, get some stuff for that, you know?
Yeah.
Take a little nibble before you go in the room. It helps. Just put yourself in the best spaces that you can to prepare yourself for success.
Right.
You know?
And success in life and success in the business. Like, if you try to find balance, whatever that balance looks like, whether it's medication, whether it's like any sort of like recreational outlet, like artistic outlet.
Oh, yeah.
Like anxiety is rough. And we also have to deal with the fact that if you have urban anxiety, if you have PTSD, any of those things, layered on top of audition anxiety and work anxiety, there are different layers that like you don't even realize that you're having to work through.
No.
And please know that you are not alone. That very few artists.
I was going to say, you are really not alone.
Yeah, I'm like very few artists. I feel like have not dealt with some sort of like mental health, sort of like a acute, like or at least just like an in the moment distress. Like, we've all dealt with some sort of mental health distress or a less than day, and most of us have dealt with things that are bigger and greater because as actors and artists we have great hearts and huge brains. I mean, a lot of us, the folks that you don't even think of, that, you know, I know folks who have won Tony Awards and swear like by antidepressants, and like they really should not have the stigma. Medication, mental health, like, it is just as a part of your bodily health as your person,
for sure.
So I love the fact that we are here, honestly, just promoting all sorts of mental health. Like, if you are in any sort of mental health distress, I just urge you to please reach out for help. If you comment, like, oh my goodness, I'm sure Brennan will happily comment back to you resources. Like, we will. There 100%. Are so many resources. Like, we're giving you a lot of great tips that like we've learned like in the business ourselves working here. But like, there are so many like other resources like that actually can help you like walk through you if you have a mental health illness or disability or different ability. If you're feeling that you're neurodivergent, you don't know how to interact. Because that's rough. Things that they don't teach you, especially if you're newly neurodivergent or newly diagnosed. And now you're having to deal with, okay, hey, my brain works differently. Like, how do I interact in the world? Like,
folks, this is just such another, like, you gotta trust your gut. If something feels off, just look into it. Just look into it a little bit. You know, like, I can't even tell you, like, how many years I was suffering from like wicked anxiety, not knowing it was anxiety. Wow. You know, I was just like, oh, wow, that's so weird that I am absolutely terrified in these weird scenarios in high school and whatnot. But like, we're talking about it, folks. You got to talk about it. You got to do something about it, because it's just going to make things way better.
Yeah,
it is.
It is. And once you realize that you're not alone, and once you realize that you're going to get better if you reach out for help and support, then it's easier to like see the light at the end of the tunnel.
And find your people, folks. Find your people that are going to be there for you for that, you know?
Even if your people are not here, I want to reiterate, because I mean, like, I guess I'm definitely in that growing my community space, and like, don't neglect the community that you left. If you're in New York and you've not found your people, and I would say I define your people as the folks that you can literally call, and like on a whim they would go with you anywhere. Those are your people. And maybe I have like one or two of them that, and then because we're all actors, no one's ever here at the same time. So like, if you find your people, and if you don't have your people here, like, I know like 4 people, like my best friends from back home, like, still FaceTime them. Sure, they can't come out with you to the movie that night, but like, make it a point to to stay connected with those people while you're building, because wouldn't it be beautiful to be able to like connect your new friends with your old friends?
Totally.
And like build a larger community and then not feel so alone in this big, great showbiz, because at the end of the day, like it's about how you build your life, not how you build your career.
That's exactly right. Folks, if you are not a phone call girly, be a phone call girly.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, phone calls used to be my most dreaded thing in the world, but now I love to just call someone out of the blue, because also it catches them off guard a little bit. But also, like, hearing someone's voice is just...
It makes it different.
It's a serotonin that hits.
It is
so much different. Especially, I mean, texting is like good, but like it's nice to keep in touch. But like the voice of someone will do wonders.
And like if you are too scared, because I know, like, I think about the fact that when I go into like you know, kind of depressive states, I kind of get like herbity, and then I'm like, wow, I haven't talked to X person in like 3 months, 6 months, 2 years, 4 years, 5 years. Like, what are they going to say? Yo, send them a voice memo.
Oh my God, voice memos. Voice memos.
Be like, hey, I'm really sorry I haven't been able to connect with you. I've been thinking about you a lot. Like, please reach out if you want to chat on the phone. I'm free Thursday.
Also, like, don't be sitting there agonizing over a text message and deleting it and trying to rewrite it. Send that voice memo, make it raw. It's going to convey exactly what you're feeling, you know?
Yeah.
Just your people know you, so let them know you.
And if they don't, it is A-okay to let them go.
Kick them to the curb.
Like if they're a person, I know that I lost quite a few friends on tour, because that was kind of like my first foray. If anybody knows me, they know, like, I can as I put myself on blast. I have an audio message. Lovely if you just talk about that. But we're just looking. I have 459 unread text messages. 422 missed calls. Like, my home screen is kind of a nightmare.
That's crazy.
I mean, and some of them are people. Some of them are, you know, hey, Kaléa Leverette, this is your pre-approved for a loan program. like some of them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Like some of them are like, you know, like relatives and such. But like, I remember, like, because I started getting so overwhelmed, like, I couldn't answer them. And then I had friends that were like, you haven't texted me in 3 days. Like, you're not a real friend. And, like, I remember weeping in this airport. I was literally crying my eyes out because one of my really close friends was like, sorry, girl, like, you're not here for me. You're not this. You're not that. Like, you're so selfish. All these things. And I'm just like, actually, I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And trying to find 2 hours in the day to call my mom. Like, that's where I'm at right now.
Truly.
And if you run across those folks who like do not have space to forgive you for not being in their life, hey, that's okay. Like, wish them the best, like, wish them love, and like find folks that will love and respect who and where you are at this point in your life.
For sure. Like, learn your ways of communication, learn what you need out of that, but also learn, you know, your friends. Like, I know my friends that are terrible communicators. Like, I know that I'm going to text them and I might not receive an answer for
days. Weeks, and then I'll get a call like 3 months. Oh my God, hey. And I'm like, oh my God, girl.
And then, you know what? If I'm not getting that text back, you know what? I call them tomorrow. I'm like, hey, this is something I actually need to know the answer to.
Right.
Yeah, you know, like
I sent you an invite. Are you coming?
Yeah. You know? I mean, and they're your friends. That's fine. Like, and also, just because they're not answering doesn't mean that they don't like you.
No.
It does not mean that you know them. They are just bad at communicating. And that's fine.
Yeah,
that's
because we're all learning, because we're all going to go through phases. Like, I have a really good friend, like, she's a new mom.
Oh my God,
and she's just like,
she's busy.
She's busy. Well, she'll FaceTime me to be like, hey, let's catch up. And then like 30 seconds later, I got to go. And then it'll be a week and a half. And I'm like, oh, okay, where'd she go? But I mean, it's just, I don't hold it against her. I love her. Like, I'm that much more grateful to see her whenever I do get to see her. On FaceTime, I've not seen her in person in quite a while. Sad. But I encourage you, like you said, find your people, use the voice memos, use the phone calls, like, put yourself out there, and to wrap it up in a cute little bow, you might get rejected there too, and that's okay. Like, getting rejected in the friend space and like the dating space and the acting space, like, it's just something that occurs within the human experience. and you find your way around it, because there will always be people to support you and love you. And I'm telling this to myself right now.
Absolutely. Always remind yourself.
There'll be people that will support you and love you no matter where you are, even if it's not the kind of support and love that you are looking for and or think you need.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And for the love of God, learn to love and support yourself, because there are some days when there is literally nobody else there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also, you know what? Treat yourself. Right now, folks, pause this podcast, go and treat yourself. Today, you know what I did to treat myself?
What did you do?
I got a haircut.
Amazing.
I was having a bad day. I got home. I looked at myself. I said, I hate the way I look.
Oh my goodness. And now we like fresh and so clean.
Got a haircut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel great.
I went and got my legs waxed today. I'm
Love
like,
that.
it's warm outside.
Oh my God. Let me tell you. For some reason, my barber, I don't know what my barber was on today, but he was like, hey, do you want me to wax your nose hair? Which is not a thing that has ever happened in my life.
Like, if you're
especially
offering,
with them. Well, no. I was like, well, are you fucking crazy, man?
It does not hurt that bad.
You think I can walk into this blind and just let you do this? And he's like, absolutely, you're crazy. Come on, Albert.
Albert was just feeling himself.
And I was like,
today.
you know what? But next time, I'm going to let you do it.
Yeah,
next time,
you know
I'm
what?
Let you do it. It could be silly and fun.
Right, don't spring it on me.
No.
Don't just spring you ripping things out of my body just randomly.
And like, he took a little bit too much pleasure out of that request too. He's like, hey, you want me to do this? I'm like, oh, you want the pain. You want to see it. You want to see it, you sicko.
I don't choose. I choose peace.
Yeah.
Treat yourself, and treating yourself does not always have to be something with money. We know New York is expensive.
Oh my God, yeah.
You can treat yourself, like literally shut everything up, do not disturb, and like go make your favorite drink.
Yeah.
Even if it's just hot tea, put an extra tea bag in, an extra spoonful of honey.
Yeah.
And like close your eyes and like take 27 minutes to drink that cup of tea. Like
put a responsibility on hold. Do it. Take that time. Read your book. Read your book that you're really loving.
Don't go to work. I don't know. Probably I shouldn't say this out
You know
loud.
what? I am one who calls out. I'm
like, don't
one
go.
who calls out. Mental health days are so
There's such
real.
a thing. Please, like that is another way to treat yourself, is to get rest.
Yeah.
If you have not felt like I am exhausted and I'm always so tired, then treat yourself with rest.
That's exactly
Don't go
right.
to work. Put the shutters down.
No.
Like hold the dog so that the dog can't like try to bop you in with the paw. And like we're gonna sit here and we're gonna sleep. Like treat yourself that way. Like find ways to recharge your batteries. And if you're a person who's like super extrovert and you recharge like in the club, girl, go to the club.
Absolutely.
Like go tell a friend, share your location. Go by yourself.
Always.
Like get your favorite drinky and like twirl to your heart's content. Like even if you're by yourself, even if nobody will go with you, even if it's Tuesday night.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
like find a way to remind yourself that you are worth it, that you have value, and that you are worth investing in, because you are investing so much already into everything.
For
else.
sure. Folks, like we said, it's expensive to do all these things and have the social life. Learn your free things. Always learn your free things. One of my favorite things in the world is a game night.
Yeah.
It's a game night in my home. Everyone comes. We don't have to spend any money, and we just have fun.
Yeah.
We just have fun. Let me tell you, New York Public Library, that's a treat.
Gorgeous.
Getting my book for free, an absolute freaking treat.
Full in, like have a 90s day, go to the library.
Yeah.
Like don't even check it out. Sit there and read the book.
Yeah.
Like find your free thing.
If everyone's going out, pregame.
Pre-game. Exactly. If you cannot afford to go to the club, it's like, y'all, I do not have the $20 cover today. I just do not have it. Go to the pre-game. Like, go. And if obviously, I never suggest mooching off your friends.
Oh.
But, like, go and be like, hey, yo, like, I literally only have $5 to spend tonight.
Yeah.
And be like, here's $5. And, like, I'm sure, like, you throw $5 down, they will happily share. Like,
they want you to be there.
They want you to be there.
There's a reason you were invited.
And
also, never second guess that, folks. If you are invited somewhere, they like you. They want you there.
They want you to go and go if you can, and if not, invite them somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly right.
I hesitate to say that everything will get better, because when you are in a space of deep depression and rejection, that is the last thing you want to hear.
100%.
Is people saying that you're going to get better, because all you are thinking of is when and how and when and how. And I would impress upon you to kind of let go of the when. When I'm really, really in like a bad depressive state, I work very hard to be so present. And we learn that in our acting work. Like, it helps us be better actors and better characters. But
100%.
If you're having a horrible day, like, fully zero out everything else and focus on that 1 second. Like, I'm putting my shoe on. I want to make sure that both laces are equally tied. Or like, if you're, I mean, and I am not an OCD girly. I'm an air sign. I'm a hot mess express. But like, I literally have to like take it like one moment at a time. Like, be present. Look up. Oh, the sun is warm. 2 months ago, I was freezing. I had a jacket on.
Yeah.
Like, this day is awful. Like, I got in a huge fight at work today. I got embarrassed. I yelled at somebody. Like, but you know what? Like, 11-year-old me is still so proud to have been able to walk out of this building today.
Yeah.
And I think that staying present in that space will also kind of like help relieve some of the anxiety about having so much to like help yourself.
Yeah.
If you're like, hey, I know I need help, and your present moment's like, hey, all I want to do today is just get the phone number.
Yeah.
Like, let me just get a phone number for a therapist, or let me just download the app.
Totally.
And then take that next moment, take that next day, take that next week. Okay, I'm going to fill out my intake form. And then you're going to make the appointment, and then you're going to go. If it's as simple as like, okay, hey, like, I keep getting rejected, and all right, I'm going to say no to every audition, every EPA that comes up for these 2 weeks.
Yep.
And then even if it's your favorite show ever, oh my goodness, it's brand new. They finally brought Princess and the Frog to Broadway. And this is my Tiana final callback. Like, if it's in my 2 week of like, you need to reset as a person, otherwise you as Kaléa will fall apart, then like, hey, take that and fully just honor yourself and allow yourself to be treated well and valued and loved for once, because New York will chew up and spit you out just as quickly as she'll embrace you.
And you know what, folks? Let me tell you, you deserve to feel good.
Yes, you
I'm
do.
telling you that right now. Even when you tell yourself you don't, you deserve to feel good.
You deserve to feel good. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to be a part of something bigger. You deserve to be a part of a community. You deserve your best life.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Like, find it and find us. Like,
Oh
if
my God,
you
yeah.
please, like, I am awful at communicating, as we've put me on blast several times, but I know like Brennan is way better at it than I am. But find your folks, like, follow us on social media, like, use social media for good.
Please, please, please.
Connect with folks, connect with other actors in the area, like, connect with if you find somebody at an event at 54 Below or at another event and you're like, man, I loved your song, I vibe with you, you seem cool. Like, I promise you will never regret going up to them and asking them.
For sure.
Like, hey, do you want to connect?
Folks, there's no one on this planet that genuinely dislikes a compliment.
Especially folks like actors who get rejected constantly. If they got rejected all day long and then now at 7 p.m. and you're like, yo, man, those are really cool shoes. Like, you may have just been that like savior of that person's day.
Yeah.
Like, please know that like, just like, there are other folks who are hurting just as bad as you, and like, reach out and be kind to them so they can be kind to you in return.
100%.
You know?
Reciprocity. We're on it.
I still know the chorus.
We are all in this together, folks. Like, we really are. This feels great.
Okay, I hope that like you got. I mean, I could have. I don't know if you need like self-care tips. I'm like
Oh my God, go get yourself your beverage. Go get yourself your favorite beverage.
It's a trial and error period. Like, do not think that like, I know I love to go on Pinterest like perfect morning routine.
Oh my God,
like best evening routine, and like try to find, okay, I'm going to light a candle and then I'm going to meditate and then I'm going to write in my journal and then I'm going to do my skincare routine. Like, honestly, it's turned into light a candle, get a washcloth, do what you got to do, horizontal.
There you go.
Like, and sometimes you have time to write your gratitude journal and sometimes you don't.
Then that's fine.
And that's fine. Like, this life happens one day at a time.
It sure is. So take it.
Take it one day at a time. Know that like your career is valuable and beautiful in whatever shape it takes. Some folks make it to Broadway instantly. Some folks it takes them 60 years.
Yeah.
Some folks find joy somewhere else. And all of those things are equally valued.
That's exactly right.
valuable. What did I say? Okay.
Equally valuable.
Equally valuable.
Yeah, folks, you are seen, you are heard, you are valid, and we are your biggest supporters. You know, we are here to support you, and you can support us, oh my God, by finding us on Patreon.
Please.
That is right, folks. That is
Please.
what is it? Patreon.com/BA2Broadway. The normal disclaimer, we will not be gatekeeping any valuable information on there. That is just for bonus content, silly stories, you know, all sorts of great stuff, sneak peeks to some good things to come. There's something up right now. Actually, by the time this comes out, it will probably be out already.
Yes.
So I'm going to take that back.
Okay, Patreon.
But if you haven't seen it out yet, then get on the Patreon. Go check it out. Yeah, Kaléa, where can folks find you if you want to be found?
If you guys want to come find me, if you're into, I don't know, elaborate evenings, nights on, I'm kidding. I literally post random funny memes, sometimes sad girl pics, and I am found on Instagram at Kaléa Leverette. That is my government name. On TikTok at It's Kaléa1, but I'm barely on there, but I'm trying to be better because funny videos bring us life. And if you are old school, you want to come see me, I am at the Lyric Theater 8 times a week in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child.
Hell yeah, you are. And folks, as always, you can find us on most social medias at BA2Broadway. Give us a follow, leave us some comments. Let us know what you want to hear about and what you want to see. Like, we're here for you. So, like, let us know. Kaléa, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun.
What a blast. This was an absolute pleasure. Folks, until next week, bye.
Bye.
Hey there, folks. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to our newest principal tier Patreon member, Yvette Solis Rivers. Thank you so much. We greatly appreciate you. From BA to Broadway is created, produced, and edited by Brennan Stefanik, music by Dylan Kaufman, and cover art by Jordan Vongsithi.